these decorations are going to be hanging from the ceiling. So what I've done is I've just drawn some lips onto a piece of paper. And now what I'm going to be doing is I've got a piece of paper that has been laminated, and I'm going to be cutting out the small sections just over here and there and there and just along here on all the places that are going to be painted black, because I need a template so that both sides are exactly the same. So I'm just going to cut that out. I'm using an X-Acto knife to do that. I've also taped it to the laminated paper so that it doesn't move when I'm cutting it. Got all the pieces out that I want to paint black, and now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut the whole shape of the lips out, so I've got a template to work with. I'm going to be doing another stencil, and this time I'm going to be cutting out the teeth so that when it comes to painting I can just put my stencil down and then just sponge the teeth in. I've got the template cut out, and now I'm going to be putting it onto some cardboard boxes and cutting out. I've got quite a few that I'm going to be doing, so on each box I'll be able to get maybe 4 on a box, and I've got 3 boxes. To make it go a lot faster for me, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to paint the box in red, and then afterwards I will put the template on and then do the black paint on top of that. I'm going to be painting the boxes on both sides. The paint is all dry on my box. So what I'm doing now is I'm just going to be placing the templates of my lips onto the piece of cardboard, and then I'm going to use a pencil to just trace around them so you won't be able to see the pencil marks. So I've got them all traced in the pencil, and now what I'm doing is taking the one template that we cut that just the black is going to be painted on, and I'm going to paint the black on now. I'm using Mars Black to do this. And then I'm going to move on to the next one. So that's all I'm doing with the black. And then I'm going to do all my cardboards like that and wait for them to dry. Just make sure that every time you do the stencil, you wipe the back of it so you don't get any black spots in the wrong place. The black paint is all dry now, and I'm taking the template that I made of the teeth, and I've got a slightly off-white. It's not titanium white, it's a little bit more on the cream side, which I'm going to be using to just paint the teeth. And then I'm just going to do all of them the same. All the paint is dry now, and now we're starting to put some detail to it. So now what I've done is I've taken some of the same red that we painted the whole piece with, and just a tiny bit of black, and I've mixed it to give me just a slightly darker shade than what the red is. And we're going to be going and doing an outline around the mouth, starting right in the corner here, and then just going to draw the outline. We're going slightly up and just following the teeth all the way down. And then the same on the top lip. And just curving it in the corner like that. It's a bit difficult to see that. So now taking the same red that we used, I've just added a wee bit more black to it to make it a little bit darker. And I've got a small brush like that I'm going to be using because we're working on the teeth now. So just work out where the center of the curve on your lips are, and then just go down and draw a straight line to the bottom like that. And then we're just going to put like a tiny Y at the top. And on the side as well. And I'm just curving the teeth slightly with the same dark colour, and the front as well. Now you just have to work out how big the tooth is. So it's, I would say we're going about there, and we're going to do the same on that tooth by just going straight down and curving it at the bottom, and then the same little Y at the top. Same with the bottom one, just put a tiny little line there. And in the corner of this particular tooth, we're going to be putting just a wee bit of black, just in the corner like that. Now when you have a look at the picture of the Rocky Horror lips, you'll notice it's got a bit of a shadow that goes all the way down over these teeth. So I'm taking some of the red and I'm making it very, very watered down so that I can get a very, very light shading. So trying it on some, so that's quite dark. So I'm going to just add a wee bit more water to that. I've taken some of the red paint and I've just added quite a lot of water to it, so it's really, really translucent. And we're going to just paint that across the teeth, going like that. And then just on the corners here, I'm just going to highlight it a little bit brighter with white there and here. And that's pretty much all I'm doing on the teeth. And now we can add some detailing to the lips. Now I've got this brush which is called a coma brush, and taking the darker colour once again and just a little bit more black to that, we're just going to put some speckles around the lips. So just like that, and a few over there. And just on a little bit on the top here as well, and on this side. Using the same coma brush, I'm going to do the same by using some white. Where we've got the top of the lip here, I'm just going to be putting a few little highlights on there. And now we're going to work on the bottom lip. You can add as many white flecks in it as you want. And now taking the dark red that we used to do this section here, I'm going to be doing the same on the top lip. So I'm just going round the whole mouth, just to brighten it up a wee bit. And those are what the lips look like, and I'm going to be doing all of them exactly the same. I've got all my lips painted now, and now I'm going to cut them all out. I've got all the lips cut out, and now what I'm doing is flipping them over, and we're going to do exactly the same on the other side. Only difference is, instead of using the template in that direction, we're going to be flipping it over and doing it in the reverse. So that'll be the black, and we do all the black first, and then of course once the black is dry, then taking the teeth and flipping them over and doing the teeth in that direction as well. So we're painting in the reverse now, and the first one that I've got is I've got some of the red and some black, and I've just mixed it, and we're going to use that to do the teeth. I'm taking the center part of the top of the lip and then just going straight down. You're going to just mark where the center of the teeth are, and then just connect the lines together going straight down, and then just drawing the little Y at the top. And then what we're going to do is, because we're going to be going to the left now, so measuring the size of that tooth, we're going to measure to get the same size on this side. So roughly that's where the second tooth is going to be. And just do the same thing by drawing the line down and then putting the small little Y at the top. And then what you're going to do is you're going to just round the teeth off slightly, just so that they're not sharp in the corners. And you're going to put that little Y at the top of that one. And those are your teeth. In the small section that we've done, where we've got the teeth that are on the left hand side, this small little section that we rounded, we're going to be painting that in black and just continue it so that it looks like it's the shadow on the inside of the mouth. Moving to the other side, we're going to do this small black line going down next to the tooth all the way to the bottom, doing our little curve again, and this time our curve is going in that direction, not like before. And we're just going to paint that in, and that's the black section done. So now we're going to add some of the detail. So I'm just taking some of the black, and it's quite watered down, and we're going to be putting a little bit of black in the corner here, just a little bit. And that's all the black that we're putting in. And now we're going on to the white. So we start at the bottom lip, but it's just in the opposite direction. So just put a few little blobs here and there. So this is the part that makes the difference between the other side. So before it was going in that direction from left to right. Now we're going from right to left. So we're just going to put those in now. And then the last thing we're going to do is we're going to finish off the teeth. Now we've got to get the shadow of the teeth. So starting it from right and going down to left. So it goes, pretty much covers that whole tooth really, and goes all the way up to like that. And there's the reverse side done. I've got all my lips painted on both sides. So when they are swinging in the wind, they'll just rotate and continues like that. And now all I'm going to do is take some fishing tackle and attach it to the top so that they can rotate, because these are all the ceiling decorations. I can't show you the end product because we're quite a way away from October, but I will be putting a video up of all the decorations once they've all been placed into their positions. To make this decoration, which is super easy to make, I've got a piece of cardboard which is 50 centimeters by 48 centimeters across, and all I'm going to be doing is painting it in grey. And the grey that I've got is this particular grey. Can't give you the exact name because it's a sample pot that I just got from the local hardware store. I've got a paintbrush that I was using black paint with, and all I'm doing is I'm just cleaning it on the side of my bowl and a bit in the middle. So just going around like that. And now I'm just going to paint the center of this whole grey. So where I've gone around with the black, I'm just spackling with the paintbrush so that I don't get a complete solid colour, and then the centre, it will be the solid colour, just painting that. So I finished painting the front, and I'm going to turn it over when it's dry, and I'm going to do exactly the same on the back. The paint is all dry now, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to divide my box. So I've got a 48 centimeters going down. I'm dividing it into 4 portions. So I'm going to be marking and drawing a line at the 12 centimeter mark, at 24, and then at 36. And don't worry about painting it exactly dead straight, because if you go a bit skew, it just adds character to this particular decoration. So I'm going to just use a fine paintbrush and paint black lines across. I'm using a fine paintbrush like this, and according to this particular one, it says it's a round number 1. So that's what I'll be using. Try not to do zigzags, but just give it a wee bit of a wiggle so that it's not quite exactly straight. So just a little bit like that, and lift your brush and then press it down harder to get it a little bit thicker in certain places. Like that. So as you can see, I've got some thicker places and then some thinner places, and it just creates a wee bit of character to it. And I'll just wait for those lines to dry before I write on it. So now we're going to be painting the lettering on it. So in the middle of the top row, the lettering lies halfway above and halfway below. So the center of the E is lying on that particular line. So we're going to be writing enter, which is pretty much all along that line. And when it comes to at, the at is sort of like mostly 3/4 above the line and just a quarter below the line. Now try and not write it so that it looks like it's printed. You want it to look like it's quite poor handwriting. And then the next line, we've got your own, which is all along, half above, half below on the center line, and then risk is sitting the same, half above, half below. But risk is actually written with a capital R and a small letter I with a dot on top, which is what we're going to be doing, and then the 2 exclamation marks going at a slight angle like that. So now you can take a pencil and mark it all out, or you can just paint it straight on. To paint the lettering on, I'm using a flat number 6 brush, and I'm just going to freehand that. Remember, try not make it too neat because it isn't quite poor handwriting. As you can see, the lettering of the at is slightly more above the line, so you want it to be a bit untidy like that. It's not a very nice looking S, so do your best to do an untidy S like this. And the K is also a bit of a strange looking K because it's not quite, it sort of like goes like that, but then they've marked it so that it goes like that. And the exclamation marks are at a slight angle like that. And the dots are way below the line. And we just wait for that to dry before we do some of the detail work on the inside. I've mixed some of the light grey that we painted the main board with and some of the black to give me this slightly darker color grey, because I don't really want it to be black. And all I'm going to be doing is along the lines here, I'm going to be weathering them slightly, and I'm going to be using a sponge to do that. So I'm just taking a wee little sponge like that and putting a bit of paint on that, and then just weathering it slightly, just like that. And then just in a few random places I'm just putting a wee bit of the darker colour, just so that it's not too uniform in colour. And right at the bottom of the picture I'm just going to be drawing a few stripes, because on the main picture on the board it's got like a few faded stripes like that. And there's our decoration completed. Nice and easy.